Better bit by the digital transformation. Welcome on board. And yes, this is a continuation of Morning Cafe. And joining me for this conversation are two gentlemen, two able gentlemen for that matter, who will help us understand how much we can capitalize on the digital space to make the best of the businesses that we hold today. Because after all, they say, the world is headed digital. The world is actually at that digital level where you have no choice but to try and capitalize on the same. Welcome on board. You are welcome to be part and parcel of the conversation. Hashtag Morning Cafe at Linda_Alela. Seated right next to me is Pius Nunda, who's the director, Howard and Associates. Good morning, Pius.
Good morning,
it's long
Linda.
Since we had you last.
Exactly.
But we are happy to have you all the
Thank
same.
you so much.
And of course, we have a new face, right? It's the first time that you're here.
Yes.
Robert Kanyua. Or Kanyua, right?
Yes.
How best do I call it? Kanyua or Kanyua?
Kanyua.
Whichever, Kanyua is best. All right. He's the managing principal and at Pro Excellence, Management Consultations. Good to have you this morning. And the conversation is about the digital transformation, so to speak. It's a conversation that we've had for the longest of time, but we'd love to know how best we can capitalize on this. We see people doing business or conducting business online, and they tend to do so well, but a majority will also tell you that they have tried to, tap into these uncharted waters, but it's not been an easy or a smooth ride for them. I mean, we'd love to know where this, of course, rubs at, and we'd also love to know why it is so, and why it's working for other people and it is not working for other people. Are we getting the policies or the strategies wrong, for that matter? But importantly, we just get to know what the importance of digital transformation or transitioning it is to matters business and entrepreneurship. Pius.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Linda, and really grateful for this morning. Such a wonderful topic that we are discussing this morning. Now, digital transformation, as you have already alluded, most businesses as they are today have gone digital. From let me just talk about in our Kenyan territory. Most business, whether it is transport, whether it is deliveries, we have seen a lot of companies going that direction, simply because even before COVID-19, people already logging into that space for the sole reason that today any service that you'll require, you'd find it online, in your mobile phone. So for that reason, most businesses have aligned themselves to that space for the sole reason of tapping into that mass market where most customers today are. And I think one of the things that have really ushered people into that kind of transformation is, of course, the advent of the mobile phones, the internet penetration that today is at a high, not only in Kenya but even in Africa. We have seen most fintech companies coming to set up their shops within, and even some that don't even have physical presence in the Kenyan jurisdiction or even Africa or even globally, being able to transact with even people who are even the rural areas. So in that, I think that has really allowed people to get into that kind of space.
And as many would argue, sometimes to transition is not an easy one. Sometimes change is not a good one. Well, we might say that we are ears into this. There's still so much that needs to be done for us to tap this market, in totality. How would you rate the process? How would you rate the sequence of us, as a country and generally the continent, in terms of transforming, or in terms of transitioning from that point where we're squarely analog and taking advantage of the digital space? And do you suppose then that the likes of COVID have come in as catalysts that will help us get to that space even more?
Yeah, certainly. And thank you for having me here. I'm
Pleasure.
happy to be here. I think transitioning to the digital space is a work in progress. Ideally, this is where we should have been. It didn't start with COVID. It's a process that has been up and coming. COVID just came to accelerate and hasten us and push us kind of into that space earlier than we thought. However, digital transformation being, the adoption of technology to enable organizations actually take advantage of all the opportunities in the market. if you think a bit about it in that sense, there's still a long way we have to go as companies. Some companies have begun the journey, others are well into it, others are thinking of how to do that. So it's a work in progress, but there's a lot that I think we need to think through to realize the full benefits of it. Yes.
All right, a lot. A lot we'd love to know. I mean, for instance, what? But it starts with, in most cases, we say it starts with the government of the day, and how much has been done towards making it an ease for different business entities to take advantage of that particular space. Do you suppose that as a country, I mean, the government has done enough to ensure that it's an easy space? I mean, there's so much that would make the transitioning an easy process for that matter, because on several occasions you've heard that there are governments that actually even curtail the internet, of course, distribution across different parts of their countries and all that. Has much been done towards creating that space for us?
Well, I think, Linda, the government of Kenya, I would say, has really tried to ensure that by the time actually, let me just pick it from where now, after COVID-19, that's when most people realized that there's also a possibility of doing business in the e-space. Yeah. Now, as at that time, you realize the government I would say they had done quite, because today you go even into the most interior part of the country through this program of, is it called Stima Mashinani, or what is it called, Last Mile program. You find that even areas, regions that would have never gotten electricity, today they can access that. And of course, that services like internet provision, they actually leverage on issues like electricity and all that. But coming home to the question that you asked, even the fact that the government is able to allow access of internet companies coming to do business in Kenya. Today, you remember that even government agencies like Kenya Revenue Authority have all aligned even their services on the e-space. And now they're even targeting, there's something that they're introducing called DST, that is the digital service tax. The digital service tax is coming basically because the government has realized that a lot of business are being transacted over that space. So the government of Kenya, for me, I would say, has really tried that. Even introducing programs to the young people, including Kenya Youth Employment Program Opportunity, that is KYOP. All of them leverage on the internet space, and even the digital Tujiajiri program. And we have also seen a lot of corporate, not just the government, a lot of corporates have also coming in even to support young people, because that is the generation we are talking about. I know we could also be talking about businesses and business owners who are in their 40s, 50s, but the bulk of the people we are talking about who are accessing internet today are the young, are the youth. And those are the people who we have seen a lot of support coming from the corporates, coming from the government, because the government have given a lot of support. And even internet companies, they've been given licenses. Do you know today, Linda, there are internet provision providers who provide internet, but they don't even have their jurisdiction in Kenya. I mean, they don't have their businesses in the country. So the government has actually tried even to support, and we have seen even government agencies like ICT Authority really coming up with programs to support businesses for the young people. Today, even as we had said earlier, it's work in progress, but we have seen today, you can order for anything, literally anything, even including boga. From the comfort of your house.
Of course, we would love to look at the advantages of the same, but this transcends traditional role like sales, like marketing, customer service. I mean, would it be looked at as a disadvantage? I mean, for instance, it has rendered some of the people that would have taken up these roles are useless for a moment.
Well, no, I think yes and no. Okay. Digital, of course, changes a few things in any organization. It makes life easier. Sometimes, as a cost saving, actually, it gets the human element out of some processes.
We're talking about job creations,
Yes. But again, what it does is it gives opportunities for the growth of different kind of jobs. So you may need to reskill, you may need to be better prepared for operating in this digital age. So some more manual, more mundane tasks, of course some jobs will fall off, but what will come up is the need for new jobs. Look at roles like graphic designers or some of these things we see on the advertising space. Where we never used to have that kind of advertising before, but those kind of content creators are now, they're needed everywhere, and actually they're really reaping in terms of pay out of their skills. So as much as some fall off, some other quality jobs come up.
What are some of the advantages that we can look at and say that indeed this is where we should be headed? This has come in handy towards transforming the business sector?
Before I answer that question, just to be able to add to what my friend here said.
Yes.
Well, people are saying that with the coming of internet and the e-commerce will automatically render some people out of business.
Yes.
But I was just looking at some figures that was shared on Sunday Nation. Very interesting for us to look as a country, and that will also help us to leverage and see that then where can we tap. That by 2025 the economy in Africa, for example, would have been risen or catapulted by the internet penetration by 19.5 trillion actually. And that from the year 2000, of course, we have seen a lot of many people log into that space. That at least 520 million today are on or the internet space, and that is 40% of the population in Africa, as they say. That again, 60% of those are always accessing internet via mobile phone. Now, where does that take us? That in the next decade, 117 million jobs
will have been
created just because of that. So we should also not just see it from the aspect of denying people, rather getting people out of jobs, but also again creating. Look at even the content creation today. We see the kind of content that we could never see before. Now, taking you to the question that you asked me, what are the advantages? I want to tell you, Linda, for example, there's convenience. When you talk about the internet penetration, today any business, let me tell you, any business who want to make it out there, you must ensure that you are seen and you are felt in the market through your a very high interactive websites. And some of those websites, we are not just talking about the website that somebody would just want to, they must be optimized even to an extent that somebody can see them on the mobile phone. That I want to see StanChart, I want to see your company, I want to see Howard. At the click of a button, you're able to see that. So there's a convenience, and then of course there's also the issue of the cost. Do you know what it takes to market TV47 out there? But today you can just create some content, throw it in your Facebook page, or even your page. Have your employees, have your workers, put them on their status. It will hit millions within a. So we are also talking about cost effectiveness. So there's convenience, there's cost effectiveness, and then of course the issue of it cuts across the region. Today, KRA again I've said are proposing to tax businesses that are already e-space. There are companies that are based in the US, but they're doing business with us today. Without even setting up a one-desk office. Again, convenience, it transcends across the region. So at least let me just mention three, maybe you can also add a few.
One of the key things that I'd probably also mention would be the potential to understand your customer.
Very true.
Through the digital space and Internet of Things, you're able to understand your clients better. You're able to reach them better and service them better. And when they have issues, you're able to connect with them better. So I think that's a key thing, because the moment you understand your clients better, you're able to get service or a product that meets their needs, and you become more relevant to them. As opposed to when you're not relevant, then they'll not seek you out, and you will just get off the market.
Speaking of which, then I will ask, sometimes it just doesn't work for others. And one would want to sit down and say, I need to re-strategize, I need to understand what it is that I've not done right. So in most cases, what could be, some of the mistakes that we do, most common mistakes that one would do as they're trying to venture into the e-commerce space?
Of course, one of the things, let me also say that as we look at the advantages, it will also be paramount for us also to look at the disadvantages.
Yes.
Today, as we engage over the space, the Internet of Things, I like the way people call it, there are a lot of risks that come with it.
Yes.
And when we talk about strategy, you can never talk about strategy without talking about risk and mitigation. So I believe that today, one of the things that businesses must do as they engage with the customers, number one, ensure that security. Your business is secured. Ensure that your customers are safe. Ensure that as they transact over the business, Amazon, as they ask for things over your space, this thing called Alibaba.
Yes.
As they transact, as they enter their debit card numbers, let them be assured that there's a lot of security around every other thing. So I think one of the things that make it not work for others is probably they have not strategized well.
Yeah.
They have not tapped into, because we are not just saying that any other space there is safe.
Yeah.
Probably they have also not leveraged on secure spaces for them to be able to do business, because we also get hacking every other place. As you think of getting your business into the digital space, ensure that you are safe, ensure that you identify with very, very secure providers, because not any other internet provider is safe, is secure. No wonder we are getting a lot of work. So as you get in there, also ensure that, I remember when banks were getting into the mobile, that is 208, when they're getting into the mobile business, and that is fintech is one of the largest space right now. People transact in a day, leave alone even mobile phones. People transact in trillions across the globe. One of the things I remember reading around that time is that as banks were trying to log into that space, they even had to bring hackers from the US, for example, because that time, to come and and assure them that their mobile money transfer was safe. So there's a whole aspect of safety and security around the transaction over the e-space.
And so what are the notable things that one needs to do to ensure that they're able to counter insecurity, for instance? What are the things that you don't look at lazily?
Certainly security in e-commerce, which is a subset of the whole digital space is critical. But in my view, one of the key fundamental things that the mistakes that you would make when you're transforming for this age, I think is not looking at the other things and only looking at technology. The technology is a good thing, and it's one thing that you need to adopt. But there's another side of things. There's a bigger side of things that will make you successful, which is people, the culture, the skills that you have, and which part of it ties into what you're talking about, the security, data security and other types of security. So I think it starts from appreciating that tech is good and tech is important, but there's other things that you need to think through, your processes and your people. Yes.
Okay, that's an interesting way to look at that. And looking at it generally, just how far is this likely to culminate? And I mean, what then would be the repercussions of the same? And those ones I would not want to look at as insecurities. I mean, what would it mean to the business world? What would it mean to the numerous people who are, trying to venture into this across the different, fraternities across the globe?
Well, one of the things I would say is that there's a future in the e-commerce, in the fintech, not even fintech, in the Internet of Things, doing business. And I'd already said, today there's a future, because basically every service that you'd want today, you'll find it in the internet space. For example, I remember when like as a country, Uber came, and it was fought. Uber came when all of us were Kenya. We were all analog, and we used to go. You want to go somewhere, taxi. And it was fought. But because these people realized that they were fighting a losing game, what did they do? All of them aligned. And from the time Uber came and we had all Taxify and every other company came, today I think we have many more of such. So let me look at just that space. In the food distribution industry today, it has all gone digital. Yeah. Today, as we are speaking, banks and financial institutions really fought Safaricom as Safaricom was getting into M-Pesa. But today, I want to assure you that in Africa today, we have 144, not even Africa, actually could be in Kenya, 144 fintech companies. And some of them are, people are fighting for that small space. So the future of this is that every one of us, every business, every customer, because you can never talk about a business without customers. Everyone must leverage on that space to be able to ensure that they align. We are looking at between, this is 2020, we all want to get somewhere by 2030. By 2030, I am sure a lot of things that we see today are being transacted over the analog space will all have been wiped out.
Adapting to this and change of the same is something that is probably not welcomed, like he rightfully puts it. A couple of innovations have been brought to us, but we've seen people resisting. Something as basic as the Huduma number, which of course is probably not in the business line. The proponents of the same argue that it will come in handy to ease the processes of service delivery and equally service getting of services from the government. What can we do to ensure that we're able to deal with these dissenting voices, to get them to that point where there's going to be a shift of them getting to understand the need of us shifting to this crucial space? Or it's an individual responsibility, so to speak.
For the people, I think they will just follow along, and that's the tough thing about change and transformation. It's never easy to adopt. There's a mindset that has to come with it. However, sometimes we are forced into change. Sometimes we adopt change. So in terms of individuals, I think we'll just follow along, and once we understand the ease of having one service, a number that actually is almost like a key service point for all of your needs, instead of having an ID and maybe all those different documents, you have one of it. Once we understand the benefits of that, we'll just follow along, and we're very good adopters. But for businesses, if you don't transform, then you'll be disrupted.
Okay.
And and that's a bad place to be. Like you're saying, technology disrupts. Even the taxi, industry, local taxi industry had to adopt because it's either you join them or you lose out.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe just to add something on it. It all boils down to change agents. Even as young people, I think what the government probably would leverage on is if they have this change agent that they would use. Because talking about something like Huduma number, I really don't understand why people had so much, what is it called? Not customers around it. They were saying, oh, these are numbers that will take us, I don't know where.
They were against them.
Yeah, but more importantly, just remember that, as we talk about security, today people can interact. I can transfer money from bank to bank from where we are seated here. And unless those companies ensure that they secure their ways of doing business, there's no customer, if you lose money today, account gets sacked, that tomorrow you want to, So unless they ensure that even the data that is, because everything revolves around data, and there's no e-commerce without data. Today, even myself here, if you ask me for my business card, I will not unleash for you, I'll give you a soft, I'll just send it to you. So whatever space that we have decided to keep to store our data, be it on cloud or wherever, let us ensure that it is safe, it is secure. That one alone will guarantee us that in the next coming 5 years, we'll be able to see a lot of revolution around that kind of.
Okay, you talk about security, you talk about data, and I'll bring in data protection, which is crucial. And the fact that, yes, we see people getting excited also, and venturing into this space without taking time to understand, without taking time to know that, well, this is how you get into this and this is how you go about it. What could be the dangers of the same, and what can we do to ensure that people do not just carelessly join into this and then they end up regretting, or they end up, looking at this space as though it's space that is not worth?
Well, of course, some parts of that pose a danger, but I think I'd rather look at it in terms of not optimizing on what, or reaching your objectives, because it's a journey, it's a transformation, it's a journey, it's something that you have to move into. And it starts from very basic, that from, like you're saying, picking up a website, maybe something a business may start with, or an individual. But it gets, depending on where you are, what industry you are, what type of organization you are, then of course it gets more complicated, right? So I think the danger would be, not approaching it with, not seeing the whole part, just seeing a bit of it, or just walking into it without understanding everything. The danger would be losing out, not optimizing on what the objectives that you should.
Okay. Well, now that we're talking business, and marketing is crucial. And when you venture into the digital space, you assume that automatic your product is marketed out there. I mean, there are times we've seen where you have to push, so at least people can be able to see your products. So you're always told, make sure that your product is visible, make sure that you're consistent every other time. So I'd want to understand the aspect of marketing of one's business in this particular space, and just how critical it is for one to get into this different aspect of it, and understanding, how best they can do to push their products when they are within this space. That probably could be different when we are talking about the normal, business setup or marketing processes that we've had.
I think, Linda, my immediate reaction to that would be the business owner identifying where the niche is.
Yes.
If you're targeting young people, you'll definitely go to advertise through Facebook, for example. Have a Facebook page. If you're planning to advertise to, you maybe go analog, the billboards. But I have seen companies advertising through Yahoo. You open your Yahoo account, or even a Gmail account, and on the side something pops up.
Yes.
This is identification where your niche is, knowing where your strength is. For example, if somebody is advertising for, let me just give you an example of this mobile money lending. They would definitely know that between 2,000 and 5,000 young people will be the majority, or even 5, or even 10, maybe students. So the key thing in marketing, because you must be visible. You must be visible even as you try to reach your target market. Know where it matters the most. Know where your niche is. That would be my immediate.
All right, as we get to wind up on this conversation, what are the crucial things that would be, a take home for us this morning in regards to people venturing into the digital space, especially when we're talking matters business? Because for instance, sometimes you get into the digital space. Sometimes you even get them as just you get to them as just simple social sites where you get to meet friends. Like for instance, Facebook. By the time people were getting into that, who would ever imagine that you would transact business at this point? It was all about meet and get to know, where did my friend disappear to? Is she married? Is she not? Is she with kids and all that? But this is changing over time. So as they get into this, what would be a take home for them that would be a lesson that would guide them through, even as they continue to discover?
I think it begins with understanding who your clients are, who your target potential clients and customers are. Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? What age group are they? What's your product? Or what's your service? Once you understand that, and a lot of that, digital can help you do that. You are going to target them. Sometimes you may not even use some channels, but you will be heavy on others. Are you a professional? Maybe you would probably be on LinkedIn. So once you understand your client groups, then you know how to reach them, and and the key thing would be also, as you get to understand your client, it's data coming in from all these the platforms that you are in.
Yeah.
What do you do with that data, and how do you make sense out of it to now make sure that you reach them better in terms of digital marketing?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, maintaining that customer relationship, which we said is crucial in this space, to ensure that at least you know your clients well and everything. I mean, in most cases in business, there are times where you do things that would go against the virtues of business. There are times where your clients will feel disappointed with your services and all that. Maintaining that profile and that brand. How best can one do it online to ensure that this is not looked at as indeed a shoddy affair or a scam for that matter?
I would say, Linda, employ right. If you have the right people, they will give you the right service and to the right customers, and your customers will be very happy. Okay. And by the way, at the end of it, it's about customer satisfaction. I like your last question where you asked what is our take home. My take home, what we would want our clients to know. Leverage on the data. Know what data, because not all data is helpful. Sometimes you are out there and somebody sends you an SMS and I think I need to visit your shop so that I sell for you ABCD insurance and all those kind of things. Not all data is important. So let's know the data we want. Let us identify critical spaces where we feel our business will be, the relevance of our business. Let us also look at the safety of the business that we transact over the internet, and more importantly, let us also employ right. I mean, know who, because your employees are the ones who get access to data. Okay. And they're the same people who can give out your data out. And they're the same people who can ensure that your data is secure. So I think for me, my take home will be, there's a lot of opportunities for us today. By the way, in any sector, whether somebody is running a salon business, or even a kinyozi business, or even mama mboga, or even those chips and everything. A time has come where we are not, everybody is shifting from the brick and mortar. We are all going into that digital space. So for the young person getting into the business today, for the person already in business, let us look at a strategy that can work for us. And part of it is to align ourselves with whatever is changing. If KRA is saying that we are going to tax every other person who is doing business over our space, and by the way, the other day I was told that even when you go to the supermarket and swipe your card, that one will attract service charge. So if all these government bodies are realizing that there's potential in that kind of space, then let us all tap into that, because for sure by 2030 I'm sure that we'll all have aligned ourselves, because this is just 2020 and we are seeing already there is nothing basically that you cannot get on the internet space. Okay, well, thank you so much, gentlemen. Pius Nunda, Director, Howard and Associates. It was good having you this morning. Robert Kanyo, Managing Principal at Pro Excellence Management Consultants. It was good having you. And I mean, that's where we're going to wind up this, even as we continue to remind you that yes, the space is big, the cake is big. It is only fair that you also get to enjoy a slice of the same. You've got nobody to blame if you do not delve into this, because after all, it is open for everyone. It was good having you this morning, and that's where we're going to wind up this segment. I'll get to see you again later in the afternoon as we take a look at the news stories of the day. My name is Linda Alela. That's where we get to end Morning Cafe. Bye-bye. Thank you.